Check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
I hear you loud and clear, Coach Jay. What a day. What a week.
What a
Uh,
day, what a week it has been. Week that felt like a month, but we are here at Friday. I want to welcome all of our buzzer beaters to At the Buzzer. Market recap. If this is your first time here, I'm Coach Jay. That's Coach Paul. The goal of this segment is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We may talk about some markets that you have not traded before, but we believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity, see how we could have taken advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. If this is our first time meeting, it's not our first time meeting. I'm Coach Jay, though. I've been a top step performance coach since June of 2023. Been trading for the past 13 years and in futures market past 6, and that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep since April of 2023. I have 40 years of experience in futures markets. I'm here to share experience and wisdom and perhaps help you become a better trader. So I'm going to hand it right back off to the most eligible bachelor at Top Step TV and all around star. Coach, how was your day?
It was a good day. It was a good day, Coach. Good time being on Top Step TV all week. Shout out to Dolby. Shout out to Jack, Eddie, all of the guests that we had on Top Step TV this week. It was while the team was out at some meetings and some important meetings, figuring out the future of the company. The show needed to continue, and I think we held it down this week. It was a good week. Got to, I think, explain a lot of my trading strategy and show how I execute trades on an everyday basis, and got to do it on the stream. And overall, I think it was a successful week. And so, hopefully, for you, all of our viewers, it was a successful week as well. Whether you were up on the week, down on the week, hopefully, there was something that you learned from trading this week that you can take into next week and into your future as a trader. How was your week, Coach?
Um, I'll have to review. It was so busy I can't keep up. There was some great trades. There was some equities were good to me. Interest rates not so good. All around, though, good. It was a profitable week, but boy,
It's a
it
roller
was
coaster.
like wrestling a tiger by the tail. Um, so how was your week, Coach?
It was good. It was good. We had the biggest news of the week, non-farm payrolls, or what should have been the biggest news of the week that we expected. Came in at 151,000. Forecast was 160, so a little bit lower than expectations. But I think again, this is showing that the unplanned news right now is taking a precedent to over the planned news. Right. I think the market cares a lot more about what's going on uh, globally and with the U.S. and tariffs, and are they on? Are they off? With the trade war that we see kind of happening right now is a lot more of a concern for the markets right now. We did have Fed Chair Powell speaking today. Going to be honest, don't remember too much of what he said, uh, but I know the markets were volatile for the day. Anything you see on the news side, Coach, or should we just get right
Well,
into the charts?
yeah. Like you said, Powell talked. No one listened. Is that what you heard? And Fed, the Fed heads are trained to say a lot, but not tell you anything. And I think he did a masterful job in that today. Other than that, let's move to the markets. Coach, we lost your.
You should be able to hear me now. To the
Yep.
downside today, we had copper down 1.96%, micro Bitcoin futures down 3.09%, and micro Ethereum futures, our biggest percentage mover to the downside at 3.15%. To the upside, we had corn futures up 1.13%, natural gas up 2.07%, and live cattle, our biggest percentage mover to the upside. Cows were jumping over the moon at
Oh.
2.08%. I feel cheesy every time I say that, but I'm gonna use it every single time that I have an opportunity to do it. Uh, we had crude oil to talk about our big four. Crude oil up 1.07%. S&P's up 0.47%, gold down 0.29%, and the Nasdaq to round out our big four up 0.57%. I have an S&P chart up here, coach. I'm going to go out to a daily chart since we're ending the week, and let's take a look. What are you seeing on this daily?
No, as we spoke, um, we look at that wick again. Um, we spoke yesterday. The 200-day moving average in the cash, the underlying, would equate to 40 and um, God, I can't even remember the numbers. 59.40. Are we?
In
Um,
SPX,
yeah,
so SPX 200 moving average is at 57.32 on the daily.
yeah.
Uh,
And the futures, it equates to 40.
okay.
I don't have. Anyway, we went down. He got scooped up again against the daily 200. Um, in the futures, we're underneath it and moving lower. But I think today we found some value on that on the daily there. Look at that. What kind of doji is that? Is is
Uh,
it is, is that a harami on the daily?
I don't think so. I figured out what a harami is. A harami is an inside candle that
Oh,
I had to
that's
look at the
definitely not inside.
no, I had to look at the patterns. It's definitely a doji. It tried to make a new low. Traded all the way down to 56.80, 56.75 today on the lows, and bounced right back up. Now I do want to pull up trading view charts for a second. See if I have trading view queued up here, because what we've been talking about all week, 200 moving averages. Shout out to Jack. Looking at the 200 moving average on the underlying asset that we're trading, it is sitting at 57.32. If you heard Jack all week, he was buying every time we got a chance to against that 200 moving average in the SPX, right? On the futures, we're below it, but on the underlying asset, we're above it. And the last time we got a close under that 200 moving average on the SPX was in October of 2023. And we can see that does not happen often. So shout out to Jack. That could be a longer term trade. Operative word there being could be. Anything can happen, and we could also just sell off. Right, that's happened in 2022 where we crossed below it and did not hold it. Um, but a nice spot to start looking for longer term. Right, we're down uh, just under 10% from the all time high, and maybe finding some buyers here at a longer term support level. Let's go down to the day time frame, coach. Let's look at a 30-minute chart on the S&Ps. And really, this has been happening again and again where that overnight session has been very quiet, right? Very quiet overnight session, pretty range bound. Not much opportunity from what I saw. And this has been the case really all week. And really what we would go ahead, coach.
Well, you just said we had that pattern continues.
Yep.
The same pattern. Break hard, get bought, finish up. Um, but if we put the 200 moving average on this, it has not gone above it. So
Right.
it's trending lower, violently at times. Um, that to me looks like, longer term players are taking some profits.
Yeah.
um, and as soon as they stop, the natural flow of stocks is to go up, and it's like pushing a beach ball underwater. The moment you lose control, it comes roaring back up. Um, so, but if we look at every day, it's that V shape, down, back up, down violently, back up. Um, I don't know how many times we talked about it. Stocks are designed to go up.
Yep. Even if it looks ugly.
So when they're selling, even if it looks ugly, once the selling stops, it naturally rises. So, but all in all, very bearish action still. Um, to me, on this 200 moving average on the half hour, we'd have to close above it for the day before I would think the bottom is in.
For
Um,
sure. Let's take a look at a 30-minute chart. I actually want to do something here. We were talking about this a little bit in the green room, coach. I'm going to take off the overnight session and just look at the regular trading hour session data. And I'm going to go down to a 30-minute. We're on a 30-minute. We've seen a lot of overlap, right? Where sometimes in these, if you only look at regular trading hours, you see gaps. This is just fluid price action, right? Where we're not very directional, especially in the overnight sessions for the most part. Here is the 30-minute open. There's a lot of drawings there. Let's take some of those off. Here's the 30-minute open in the equities today, uh, and was a nice trade in both directions. Again, two-sided trade today. Initially, if we look down to the 3-minute opening range on the S&P, this was a great buy. I was telling the team in the green room when I got on later in the day that I was still waking up at this point. This is a great long, right?
yeah, 2 to 1.
Almost instantly, right? There was almost no drawdown, 2-to-1 trade here, and really a nice bounce off 50% of that 3-minute opening range. VWAP left the range super early. ATR at this point, coach, was 11 points. So if I got the long off the high here, 22-point risk, which could be pretty
40. Yeah, round it off 20. It's expensive if you do a mini.
Yep. It is.
Remember, 40 points can be the average true range for the day.
Right.
That's how volatile this is.
Yeah.
Um, so I want a quick position sizing. If you think you still have to trade minis, well, then your account really has to be 3 times larger than it was a month ago. Um, anyway, it's funny you say that. You taking what was it, 20-point risk, 40 point, 20
20-point
point risk,
risk. Yep.
and you would say, oh, 40 points, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, did it get there?
2-to-1, 2-to-1 at the highs? Or no,
Yeah.
the 20 points at the lows, it didn't get there before you got close to a 2-to-1. We got a 1.5 to 1. We got 34 points from that entry point up to that high. Uh, but I say all the time, I'm leaving here with something. There's no way I'm letting a trade go 30 points in my favor if I'm looking for 40 and I'm not taking something off the table. Now, I might not get full position to that 2-to-1, but that's some good money there to not leave. And I say that, and I had a trade today that I had a conversation with a trader about in the chat, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But it's a good trade there, coach.
Hey, another thing, you know, some people do 1.5 to 1. I just want to go. You could go. The principle is don't go less than 1.5 to 1,
Yep.
because then you're in the probability of getting stopped out a lot. Um, so yeah,
You know what I
let's
like to do,
look at
coach?
yeah.
When we get, like you said, just that 1.5 to 1, what I like to think about if I'm trailing and I'm thinking about the risk to reward if I'm actively trading it. If I get 1.5 to 1, I like to trail my stop to 1-to-1.
Okay, yeah,
Right? Pay
that's
for the trade, maybe start to scale some out. But if I get 1.5 and I'm still looking for that 2, I like to start managing positions at that 1.5 and maybe go 1-to-1 with the stop.
yeah. I like that idea. Um, but let's look at just the volume alone, measuring the flow. We opened gap down,
Hmm.
right? And look at every bar was buying,
Yeah, consistently.
but it wasn't big buying. It was mostly average volume. That red line indicating the average moving average of volume. There was no. It wasn't like some huge buyer came in,
No,
and
it's
that
just consistent.
so when did this buying fail? Well, on a price basis, when it broke the low of the highest candle, that's one way.
Up
That's
here.
just on price,
Yep.
but on volume when it closes below VWAP.
Which is this candle right here. And I'm gonna clean this up so we can kind of see exactly what you're talking about a little cleaner, coach. Where I took a trade this morning on the way up on a price basis. I got short at 57.67, but I was shorting on the way up, so I used a momentum stop. Right? If I would have went just a little bit higher on my stop, I don't get stopped out. But I don't know that the market is going to turn here. Right? I'm preempting this trade. Right? Full disclosure, preempting this trade. I wanted to get short. I got stopped out on the way up, but like Coach Paul is saying, if you wait for the buying to actually fail, this candle right here, Coach, look at what we get right here.
Oh, yeah. Now, with that too, that took out how many? One, two, all that buying. So if we look at the candle at the top, it wasn't big selling, right? That
Right.
volume.
Pretty insignificant.
So just if that selling could take out the first sign of selling, let's put it that way. Can we th- we can we assume that the buyer stopped?
Right.
Um, but that was the first sign I would say. But I mean, VWAP told the story. That was, and it happened fast too. I mean, I don't think that does it justice. I don't. It just someone said, okay, give it to them, or there's no underlying support with volume. It was basically quick flash in the pan buying. And think about that little selling on volume. Now, but when we closed under VWAP, it was that
That
to
was it.
me, that was a confirmation that all that buying is failing now.
Yep. 100%. And really nice retest. And, I did get back in this short here. Where would you have gotten in on that short? So, Skylar Cole, I got in on this short at 57.67 on the way
Oh,
up. 57.67, I got in short on the way up. I got stopped out of this. And when I got stopped out, this is why I say all the time, if you get stopped out of a trade and the trade idea is still valid, do not throw that trade idea out. I got stopped out, lost 400 bucks. That was what I was comfortable risking at that time. Comfortable paying to see whether basically what I was paying for was timing, trying to figure out the timing, right? And maybe I could have took that with smaller size, but if it went right away, I was willing to stay in it. But I wasn't willing to pay more than $400 to figure that out. When it started to come back down and we found a high, I'm back in this trade and I took it with 2 lots because now I have more confirmation, um, in my strategy that says, like, this is a good short, right? We got extended from this overnight or sorry, this New York session VWAP, and you might have heard it, my target was that overnight VWAP, New York session VWAP down at 57.50. But on the way back down, I took it with 2 lots, um, right around the same price. I think I got in at 57.69 on the way back down, um, in this short. Now, I'm taking this trade early, right? I am preempting this trade. There's nothing to say that this had to stop right here, right? I'm taking this trade when this looks like this. There's nothing to say it here. I really like what Coach Paul is saying about waiting for the confirmation of volume failing, because in the same sense, right, we've talked about this trade here, and that's just going to be pink forever until I change that. So bear with me. I actually don't mind that color. Matches with my shirt today. But this candle right here, that because okay, here we say we're looking to buy anchored VWAP left the New York session range to the upside, right? So any test of VWAP or the range should be opportunities to buy. And in this case, that was a pretty good trade. If you waited, you didn't get an exact test of the range. But if you waited here, you had a 24-point trade in the profit. But at this point, the higher time frame was telling me to continue selling this, right? So like Coach Paul said, this candle that closes below it, if you're if you find yourself getting stopped out of trades before if you get the direction right, but the timing and location wrong, you're gonna have to pay a little bit in trade location. In this case, I would have had to pay an extra 20 points in trade location. But at this point, what was the drawdown on this trade if I take this here, coach, against this candle that broke the buying?
Maybe 2 points.
It's less than
Two.
10,
Yep.
less than 10, right? So you don't have to try to be the one that sells the high of the move. And I probably would have made more money if I waited because I had extra confirmation. Right? I think I could have took more points out of this move if I waited on it. Because up here, I'm like, okay, am I the only one, or is the rest of the market selling as well? Down here, I get confirmation that the market is selling, and just a beautiful move to the downside once that volume broke, and officially broke with a candle close under VWAP.
Yeah. And you know what I noticed? This was, the volume wasn't great,
Right.
but the average true range was large.
Correct.
What can we confer from that?
The order books were pretty thin. Volume still had to
Yeah.
trade.
Right. And so then we get wild moves like this because it, the longer term participant is scaled back. That's why we're breaking. I'm going to say that again. What does stocks do? They go up. You know,
Yep.
part of it, we know that $350 billion is sitting in the Wizard of Omaha's bank account.
Right.
He, I wouldn't say from that volume he's stepped up. Um, but
Might still be selling.
I mean, this is not bullish longer term. Not yet. I would, because look at that volume was kind of even and scattered. We didn't see that pattern where selling comes in, more selling, selling, and it's skewed down and then it stops. This volume is all over the place,
Yep.
but nothing really big. We didn't see a J trade.
No, not really all day. We did get a bunch of continuations though, some really nice continuations. I'm looking at this candle here, right? And what's the significance of this one? Significant price action, decent volume, almost as much as the open. But then again, when candles do something significant, right? Like this one, why am I calling this significant? Because the low of this move here, 57.36, was the NFP candle, right? Where we tested up until that point, we tested the low of the NFP candle, right? I'm looking at this as, hey, does this hold as a support? The same way that candle broke through VWAP and closed below, this candle broke through that low of that NFP candle and closed below. Now, trade location matters, right, coach? We say don't swim in front of the shark. Do I want to sell this low? Maybe, right? Because it could keep making new lows. But am I comfortable doing that on the first candle that breaks it? Maybe, maybe not. What if I wait for 50% of it? Now I'm short at 24s. If you saw during Topstep TV, I was getting short at 24s. Tried to build into a position, had a three lot that was in my favor for a little while, and then it came back and stopped me out for pretty much a scratch. But not trying to sell it at this low because of the potential for that volume to slow down. Now, in order for us to get down here to 57.05, there had to be a seller to bring us down there. The way I'm looking at this is if I can get a better position than this seller, up here near 57.25. Worst case scenario, I make money to their position. Best case scenario, they're ready to continue making money and we trade lower than them. I just built my position a little too aggressively, but some really nice moves,
Yeah, both sides.
both
Um,
sides.
you had a nice double bottom. There's
Just go ahead, coach.
it was a nice double bottom.
It really
Put on
was.
a put a line chart. It's easier to see on a line chart. Now just looking at that, where does this selling stop? Well, if we use a VWAP from the open, we were far away from VWAP at that point. Did we see some extended selling? No. Wasn't like someone like we've seen it before, exhausted selling. Now, we're in the middle of the roll, aren't we?
I think we're getting close to it.
Yeah. And this is where data can get volume data can get funky. Um, I wish there was a way to combine both and average it out. Well, I'll have to ask Chatty G how to do it, huh? Um, but just on a price basis, double bottom, that's classic.
Yep.
So put a VWAP on the second. It's because we don't know it's a double bottom. So if I want to get in there, what's my risk?
Make a new low
And I never say I because this one it's not a double. It's not. It's not a. It's just a low.
on the
But that
first one.
second time, yeah, on
Yeah,
the second time, I, is it going to continue? Well, if it's going to continue, we would have to have buy volume, right?
right.
It just, we can't get it on sell volume. Um, and VWAP, there it is. Um, how much heat? And by the way, we could actually go. We don't know that's a double bottom until we go back and test it the third time. Oh,
I don't know. I think I'd if I was watching here, I think this is right when I got off the stream and went to go get lunch, I would try it. I know Jack did. Jack got in some micros here. Shout out to Jack. He was executing all to the
yeah,
long
he's
side. So just a real quick case on trading micros. Jack made $3,000 trading that house account in 3 days, only trading micros. Only
enough
to the
said.
only to the long side. He only bought the markets this entire week. Every day since Wednesday, we've had two-sided markets. Jack only played the long side, made $3,000 only trading micros. If that is not a case for traders trading micros, I don't know what else is. Uh,
On a week. Well, let's put a weekly up real quick. I just want to reiterate. He made $3,000 buying micros. Look at that weekly candle.
yeah, the week ended 3% lower, 3.5% lower.
All right. That, I see. I'm a big fan of that. Taking one side of a market. In my experience, my biggest losing days is when I'm trying to get on both sides of the market. Be wrong on one, at least if you're starting and you're learning.
Yep. DGen is asking about when your payouts get removed from your TopStep accounts. On the old dashboard, they get removed about a day or two after the request. On the new dashboard, it's instant. You don't got to worry about it. So that new dashboard should be a full rollout sometime soon. New dashboard, instant deductions from your account, so you don't have to worry about it and you can keep on trading. Right. Anything else you got on the equities, coach? Going
Yeah,
into
one
next week.
last thing.
Yep.
Dan
Go ahead.
Trader is saying there was over 2 million in volume in the ES.
Mhm.
Um, that's total volume, but I'm saying um, that's why we're in the roll. So when that's going to affect the volume numbers, but the on these chart, is this the half hour or even the 5 minutes? Well, let's go back to half hour. What I'm saying is there was no big spike in volume.
Yep.
It was pretty evenly distributed. High and highest in the open, almost the same on the close, and in the middle, it wasn't. It was what maybe a better way to say that the distribution of volume was pretty steady.
Yes, it was. All right. Oh, you can see that double bottom. So yeah, man. Sometimes we don't. I say it all the time, and I got to remind myself: the highs and the lows of the move aren't meant for us. They're meant for market makers. They're meant for the traders that can make those highs and lows. Even if you don't catch this double bottom, this is a 30-minute chart. Let's say I don't catch the double bottom because I don't try to. I want the market to confirm that it is a reversal, and then I buy after that. Right. Some of the fear and anxiety of is this an actual reversal is alleviated if I just trade above the candle that made the reversal. Sounds very simple when you think about it that way. I just bought it here at 57.02 instead of trying to figure out where that low was and let the market figure it out. Maybe I could go with wider risk and hold on to the trade longer. Something to think about. Something to think about.
It's it's hard to think now. It's Friday after this week.
Yeah, it's like, shut this guy up. Let's get out of here. This is supposed to be a review. Basically, what we did was a V recovery. We made a new high above the high of that news candle and traded right back into it. And that is enough on the equities, coach. What other market do we want to talk about? Let's
Well,
see
you
if we.
wanted to buy gold. Let's see if we had a good buy in the gold.
Uh, oh, gold
You
went
say
goodbye.
goodbye. I say hello. I'm a
Go,
boomer. I'm quoting the Beatles.
I know that song. Uh, no, I didn't buy gold today. I wanted to. I've been bullish gold, but gold has been in this consolidation over the past couple of days, which we've seen gold do this before it starts to continue that trend and figure out a direction. Um, Coach Vince, I'm gonna go back to that on that chart. But trying to buy gold, we closed right at that 200 moving average on the 30-minute chart. Gold has been in this consolidation. It's been another nice two-sided trade. If we go down to a shorter time frame here, it's looking at a 3-minute chart. Let's look at a 5-minute chart on gold. And here is the NFP candle and just a two-sided trade. Every time gold has been up near these 2940s, it's been a nice sell. Anything down near 2900 to 2910 has been a decent buy. And that story repeats itself today, even with the volatility. Huge spike of volume right here. This pink is like in your face. Uh, Here, let me cool that down a little bit. Let's
No
go with
comment.
this nice purple. Uh, when we get this high volume at these lows, we close above it. Really nice trade up here. Two-sided trade, range bound trade, but decent enough range to trade. We got a 1% high to low range in gold. So
We
there's
got a
definitely
J
opportunity
trade
there. Yep, there it is right there. We close above that high and we go.
to new
And
lows. That's a classic.
yes, it is. Then we get one kind of at the high. Goes below that low, retest it. Nice trade right back to where we came from before. Again, I will continue to say it. These markets are presenting really good opportunities. Be patient, let them come to you. But there was a time where we were like, "Oh man, this is just dreadful to try to even figure out how to make money from these markets." Where these are more slippery markets right now, right? Where they're kind of just all over the place, especially the Nasdaq. At some point, the Nasdaq today was trading anywhere between a 6 tick and 15 tick spread. Um, it's dangerous. I've had a lot of fun trading the S&P. It's a lot more comfortable market to trade in right now, especially with the thin order books in the Nasdaq. But a ton of opportunity here um, if you manage your risk and wait for the opportunities to present themselves. Anything else you got in gold, Coach?
Um, let's look at the daily really quick.
Take a look at the daily.
Well,
All right.
we're plateauing. We're going to break out of this range. Which way? Most likely to the upside, but as you well know, I don't predict. But it's holding this value. If I thought it was a high, I would like to see it turn over hard. We tried to do that, got bought up again. So like you said yesterday, still looking to buy it.
Still looking bullish. Couple of indecisive candles here, but gold does that and then it rallies for 3 months. Uh, so we might see that again here sometime soon.
Yeah, it kind of looks like that.
Yeah, yeah. It's like oh, we're just gonna chill out for a little bit, catch my breath, and then continue the rally, and that's what we're doing right now. Uh, Neil says NQ smacked me today. Well, smack it back, right? Fight back, but manage risk. That's how you fight back in markets that smack you, right? They, the Nasdaq is a wild market to trade. We'll continue to say that. I think if I was trading Nasdaq right now, and I'd be looking at trading micros for sure. I feel a little bit more comfortable trading the minis in the S&P, but in the Nasdaq, it's in a live account in the Nasdaq, you're paying a 6 tick spread just to be in the market most times. Right? That means you're paying a point and a half just to be in. If you're going to market with your orders, I know traders say you can use limit orders. Difficult
Yeah,
market to trade in. You're paying 6 ticks on both sides, right, to get into a trade and to get out of a trade.
that's a direct reflection of the volatility.
Yep.
Is two things. Um, if you're if you're caught on the wrong side, you need to use a market order. I'm going to say it, and I'm not going to repeat it. You'll understand that. Oh, let it come to me. Well, it's not coming to you. You're losing money. If you have a stop, what is that? It's a
A
market
market
order.
order.
But if you're entering, then you can be then you try and be patient. But one thing that can happen is you miss a lot. Um, 6 ticks, right? Was a point and a half.
Hmm.
Okay. What's the average true range in the half hour,
Average
or
true
even
range and
no, in the 3 minute?
during the most volatile time of the day where most traders are trading, about 50 points.
50 points. 50 points. How many ticks is that?
200.
200 ticks. So 6 ticks. And that's in it, what, the 3 minute chart?
It's a 3 minute chart. Yep.
Okay, what do you think market makers are going to do? Give you a tighter market? The market risk is expanding. So they have to expand their bid offer, or they're not going to be around long. Think about that. So to me, that's just a function of the volatility that we're in. But I'm an old school guy. I don't. I want in. I want in. I don't. If that's the cost, a tick, okay. Because you don't measure how many times you missed stuff because you tried to, you know, oh, you missed by a tick, not nicked by a tick, but you missed by a tick to getting in. Well, if you're missed a profitable trade because you wanted one tick, you got to review that, in my opinion.
Yep.
But
I agree.
if you're getting in and out a lot, first of all, you're going to get creamed in this market. It's right there. Now there, the bid and offer is 6 ticks. If you did 20 trades today in this volatility,
Getting chopped up.
yeah,
Uh, Oakland Torch makes another good point as well. We're talking about the spread. The spread is not as drastic trading micros, right? Where the spread might be 6 ticks in the minis, it's 1 to 2, 1 to 3 in the micros. So you're not paying that much either. There was a question here. Let's get to that question. And any other markets you want to discuss, Coach, let me know. Ship K asks, what are the best tips you can share for newbie futures traders? This is my new favorite tip. It's not a new suggestion because it comes from Coach Paul, but something that I'm suggesting to new traders. And again, Coach, I have to give you all the credit for this. Try to figure out how to trade the market that you trade with a 2 ATR stop on the lowest time frame you look at. So if you are taking your entries on a 1 minute chart, Try to figure out how to trade with 2 ATR stops on that 1-minute chart. What does that mean? Uh, Gotta move this ATR indicator because it's literally right behind me right now. Come on. Let's do this. All right. 1 second. Okay. So the ATR indicator is just showing you the average value of each one of these candles, right? The last 14. I'm on a 1-minute chart right now. So if I was trading during the beginning of the session, the ATR is 35 points. That means that if I take a trade, my stop should be 70 points. Right? This is a suggestion for a newer trader. And you're looking for 2-to-1 trades from that point. That is my suggestion based on what Coach Paul says. Is each trade going to be a 2-to-1? It's not. Should you be securing some profits along the way? In my opinion, yes. But I think a lot of times what happens with newer traders, Coach, you could attest to this as well, is we try to be very tight on our stops because we don't want to pay a whole lot. But we don't want to pay a whole lot because we're over leveraged in the account that we're trading in. So if a new trader had to trade with a 2 ATR stop, Coach, what they have to size down.
Well, here, I'll just give you experience when on the trading floor. New trader, if he's being trained by
Mhm.
a trading group, you're called a one lot Willie, and for a reason. You have to learn how to execute. If you're starting to execute, you shouldn't be doing size because you're gonna get you're not gonna survive. You build into it. Like we'll use a basketball or a professional sport. It's a team sport. Rookies get a little time to prove themselves. They get a little more prove themselves. They get a little more time. Um, but they don't. It's a rare thing where you throw them in and you get a Michael Jordan or a LeBron. Um, but overall, you have to start small. You have to start or weightlifting. You're going to start at 500 pounds. You're going to start at 300 pounds, whatever. You have to work up to it. Otherwise, guess what happens? Too
If
much
you're lifting
size,
weights, you're gonna get crushed.
you're going to get crushed. If you're lifting too much volume, what are the percentage of failures? Ask yourself. It's very large
Yep.
because if you're starting out trying to, and we talk about this mindset, just trying to make money and not execute a plan, there's a high probability you're not going to succeed. So that's why starting off um, small, failing well, because that's big part of trading is learning how to fail.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, great advice, coach. Start small, get comfortable, start building your account, then you can add volume.
Awesome. Any other markets you want to talk about, Coach? I got nothing else here, but if you have any others or if you guys have any other questions, let us know. Not, we can wrap a little bit earlier. There is a question from Nelson there for you in the chat, Coach.
Okay.
What are you
Um,
looking for going into next week, seeing NQ close below the 200 moving average? Would you be short under the 200 and long above?
on the half hour. Yeah, I would say more than short. I'd be looking to trade from the short side. It's different than them being sell. Like to trade like today's action. Look for failed buying. Um, look for structure. I'm looking for order flow. Today's example was the order flow. We had early buying that failed. Okay, that's an opportunity. Um, not just price, but price and volume.
Here we go. Rapid fire questions, real quick. Billy, every moving average that you see is going to be a simple moving average on our screens, at least. Bullet Trader says that you agree with everything that Coach Paul just said. Me too. Guy's good at what he does. What do you expect for next week? More volatility. Seeing if the market picks a direction. Don't know if we have many catalysts for next week, but there's always the T word catalyst that we can look forward to. Um, all right. A- then David had a question: tips for tuning power trades in Quantower. David, if you're gonna use power trades for Quantower, I would suggest mapping, and you could look it up in the Quantower. What's it called? Quantower documentation. But there's a way to map symbols mapping. Look at the symbols mapping in Quantower where you're going to use the data for the minis to trade the micros. That's how I would do it. For me, the volume data for the minis means a lot more than the volume data for the micros. So what you could do is you can map the symbols where I'm trading MES, but looking at all of the data for ES, and it'll do it for all the charts and volume analysis that you use. Is the S&P your preferred market for beginners? Uh, I'm gonna say yes. MES. If you're gonna trade equities, MES or even the Dow. Definitely not the Nasdaq for beginners. What about you, Coach?
Ditto.
Corn?
Seriously,
Yeah.
um, working with Coach Jack on a broadcast, and Coach Jack trades corn, and he risks $100 a trade every time. He'll make 400, lose 100.
There we
Um,
go.
Best trader I knew in the grain floor started out in the oat market, which was even it would be mini micros compared to soybeans.
Yeah.
Because he said, like he told me, he goes, "Oh no, I had to learn my craft." So if you're serious about it and you're brand new, you have to start somewhere, just like a video game. First time you start it, what do you have to do?
Put it on easy mode.
Put it on easy mode and blown up a lot. Um, so yeah, definitely, I would say mini.
Yep. And also just a quick note, corn just closed above the 30 moving average, 200 moving average on the 30-minute chart. Coach, what's this white line down here?
That's the 200 bar moving average.
What was the low of day today?
Um, about the 200 bar moving average.
The technicals apply wherever you apply them. Uh, that is an amazing trade in corn right there. Uh, Here's our open, same technical analysis we do everywhere else. Here's our open, we attach VWAP to it. Volume doesn't leave the range to the low. We come down, check a higher time frame level. Volume leaves the range to the high, and even if you don't buy this breakout, gives you a chance to buy the high of that range again and go from there. It all works wherever you apply it. All the same.
Yep.
All the
And
same.
then, by the way, that there's a J trade.
It's the
And
same
there it
stuff every
is.
single time. Same stuff every single time. Uh,
Because markets haven't changed. The bid, it's the battle between buyers and sellers. At its raw, there we go. That's why we have an exchange.
yep. All right, let's try to wrap this. Two more questions. I got a question from Lionel. When do I decide to trade with micros or minis? It varies based on my uh, confidence in a setup. But I will comfortably trade mini micros with no problem. Right. I did it today. I scaled out of a trade. I had one mini on, scaled out of it, traded down to micros, and didn't feel a way about giving back giving back profits because I wasn't in bigger size. It's okay. The account can facilitate trading minis, but that doesn't mean I need to put on a mini every single trade. And then what is my schedule for Top Step TV next week? I am going to be on Monday for opening call, fast markets, and then Wednesday for fast markets as well. And then Thursday for Back to the Futures, which is 1 p.m. Central Time. Coach, one more question, probably the most important one that we got today. What are you drinking this weekend?
You know what's funny? I was just gonna say there's one market that I wanted to go to.
Okay,
That's the liquor market and pick up some Guinness.
there you go.
I'll leave it with that, coach. Throw
There
it
you
over to
go.
you.
I got a party to go to. Friends are welcoming a baby soon, so they're doing a little baby shower house. So I'll probably bring over a bottle of wine over there. So I'll go pick something up tomorrow. Uh, go from there. Uh, we did mention there was an issue with TopstepX earlier. The team is aware of it. We do not have any updates on that. If there is an update, the team will announce it, send an email, whatever it may be. Uh, Thank you, everyone. Trade well, manage your risk. Well, it's Friday. We're going into the weekend. Enjoy your weekend. Work really, really hard at what we do here. Um, should be able to take some time off and appreciate the work that we do. I know that I'm going to do that this weekend. I'm probably not going to look at a chart until Sunday night. Um, but until then, we will see you. If you got to do any review, do it. Then get off the charts. The weather's starting to get nice. It's supposed to be 60 degrees in New York next week. So I am excited. Coach, thank you again for a great week. Andrew, shout out to Andrew, who has been moderating all of the segments on Topstep TV this week. Shout out to you. Have a great weekend, everybody, and
Have a great weekend.
bye.